Good morning and welcome to Barbershop Talk. I'm Terry Swanson. I'm here with Sylvester Washington, and our guest today is day-bracey. We are in New Brighton, Pennsylvania, in Brad's Barbershop. Shout out to Brad and to his customers for allowing us to invade his space and to take a couple minutes to talk with one of the young and rising comedians in Western Pennsylvania, in Pittsburgh area, Mr. day-bracey. Standard question: why comedy?
I like attention. I didn't get enough in life, I guess. Like, I got to a point I was in my 20s, and somebody was like, what do you like to do? You bounce around everywhere. Like, what is like? You got to find something that you like to do. And I'm like, well, I like to drink and talk stuff. I mean, that's kind of And they were like, well, we got to figure out a way to make money doing it. So
Okay.
It was one of those things where like people kept saying, you should be a comedian, and I'm like, you say that, but like it's different, being, like at a party and just having a couple of drinks with some folks and being funny and going in front of strangers and having to relate, yourself to those folks. Conversational funny isn't the same, and
that's right.
And so I had a respect for that, growing up with the Richard Pryors and Eddie Murphy, always a comedy fan, and just having that respect for it. I was like, you guys don't understand, like, you want me to be funny. You like me already. Yes. Like, I got to.
If I don't know you,
if I don't know you, my experiences are completely different from yours.
Right.
So having to do that is like it's a bridge that you have to, go through or whatever. But
do you remember that time or that first time you kind of like took the stage, and it was really it was more than just my friends laughing or not at this joke, but it was serious business.
Well, I mean, you start out with open mics. You get on there, and so I did some YouTube videos before I got on stage or whatever, and I knew they were like funny. I got a positive reaction from those, so I was like, I can hit the stage.
I'm like, you're gonna come to me for relationship advice? That's like going to a bum for change. The question I always get the most is, day-bracey, how do I know if my man is cheating on me?
And I got on stage and I tried to do those same jokes at an open mic, and it's not the same. It's like I bombed. I actually bombed for a good 2.5 months.
Wow.
On stage, writing the jokes and whatnot, and just kind of like hammering it out. But I think it was the confidence of having friends and family, with the support there, and like feedback from the YouTube videos that I was getting that let me know that I was funny. But I just had to figure out a way to be funny on stage, So it was definitely a learning curve, and I'm still on the learning curve. I'm 4 years into it now, and still developing material and developing my stage presence and whatnot. But about 2.5, 3 months into it, Aaron Clobbery is one of the bigger comics in the city, and he was running one of the open mics, and he comes to me and goes, hey, want to throw you on a show, it doesn't pay much, but maybe do 10 minutes.
Right.
I was like, I'm doing it for free every night.
For sure.
Of course, and that was, it was my first show, and it's been a dream ever since. So,
some days you just don't feel funny, I guess. Some days I can't imagine. I gotta be funny every day.
Every day.
It's tough. I mean, because I have a large Twitter presence, large online presence, and then. Being on stage, there's sometimes where real life is hitting you, and you got to show that night, and it's like I don't even want to be around people. I don't really want to, but you got to turn it on.
Tell me this: where do you see yourself going in a not so distant future? What are your goals?
So. Pittsburgh, it's a great time to be an artist, an entrepreneur, small business, whatever in Pittsburgh. I see myself as a small business, It's it's something that I have to do. It's self-perpetuated, and it drives an income. So, it's a great time with Pittsburgh, the growth of the city, the way it is.
Right.
And, when you have so many people that have expendable, income that want to do stuff, outside of just drinking, that's where we come in, and we're able to do that. 10 years ago, we wouldn't have been able to, I wouldn't have been able to do what I do.
It's a very different place now,
So we have so many, small businesses, local venues that, are willing to take a chance on, comedy and things that we do.
Right.
I was doing one of my first shows was up in Harmony Ridge. And they brought it in. They were like, we had comedy kind of once, a couple of years ago. It didn't really work. It's kind of you get that or whatever. And then it was a hit. We sold out shows, and we're building that in the city. We have a show down at Playwrights Theater downtown now that we do every month. We sell that out, pack out the house. when you're doing something in the city, you kind of start to bump heads with the same folks, and everybody has that like there's no like animal like like competition or anything like that. It's like everybody wants to grow together. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
that's great.
It's like I said, it's a beautiful time to do what I'm able to do, and moving forward, I just want to do my best to big up the city. And that's how I've grown, was by shouting out other people and like building that camaraderie. And in the next 5 years, I want to open up a venue of some sort, and then bring in local acts, even some national acts. Have local acts open up and feature craft beer, craft liquors, all local, and fried chicken.
All right.
Yeah. Like if you ain't come for anything else, it comes for fried chicken.
That's great. That's great. Do you have anybody you kind of like look up to or model yourself after?
Well, I mean, Chris Rock is a big influence. He was one of the comedians that he's able to say offensive things non-offensively. He's able to hit on those hard-hitting issues, but he says it in a way that like it's easily digestible to everybody. I mean, and and I love the fact, because again, being a black comic and going in front of mostly white crowds. I mean, I perform in West Virginia, you're down in Atlanta, you're down in New Orleans or whatever. You have such a diverse like just geographically is diverse, and then you have the crowds. I'm in Asheville, North Carolina, in front of like all old white folks, and I'm like, how am I gonna relate as a young black man to these? From Braddock, to these folks. And I mean, it's and looking at Chris Rock and the way he takes an issue and he twists it. I like to have that in my comedy as well. Like because I feel like if I'm doing this and there's no real message behind it, no purpose that can help out the community as a whole, then it's kind of it's frivolous. It's very self-serving, and at the end of the day, that can only go so far. When money is nice and attention is nice, but at the end of the day, what did you really do? So he's been big Dave Chappelle, Eddie Murphy and them, Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor is they're probably my favorite, because he did it in the 70s when he's up there at the Oscars in the 70s. He's on the and he's saying what and he had Paul Mooney and Red Fox behind him, so that that writing trio. It was a phenomenal thing to see.
Well, you sound like you're a student in the game as well as a practitioner. So we certainly wish you the best. Thank you for joining us and giving us your valuable time.
I appreciate you guys having me.
You're a part of the Pittsburgh Renaissance, I would say. So we appreciate you coming. We want to thank you all for joining us. This has been Barbershop Talk. See you next time.